Hi, yogis and yoginis. Today we're going to do what I'm calling a flow and restore class. It's 60 minutes, so 30 minutes of physical work in chair yoga style. Now, my chair yoga class involves either seated positions or standing. You can always sit down whenever you need to, and all the poses can be done from a seated position. I do like to offer the standing options because they're so good for our balance, and we do need to continue to work on our balance every day of our lives. So that's why I do offer those standing options. So 30 minutes of physical practice, 30 minutes of restorative yoga poses that will require a couple pieces of equipment. So if you have a light blanket, you want to bring that into this practice. If you have a sturdier blanket that you can roll up as a bolster, or if you have a bolster pillow, or even an extra yoga mat, you want to bring that to be prepared for this class. Of course, bring some water to drink for when we get thirsty throughout the practice. Let's see, what else? Oh, another chair. So for our chair yoga restorative poses, we're going to use what we call double chair yoga. So you will not have to get down on the ground for these poses. You're welcome to do so if you would like, but it's not required. And just for today, I'd like to encourage you to try the double chair method. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. It is delightful. So we're going to have 3 poses that we will hold for 10 minutes each. And don't let that 10-minute time frame frighten you. We're going to be in relaxing poses for 10 minutes. Just relaxing. I've got the windows open today. We'll be able to listen to the birds chirping and singing to us. So let's think about 10-minute snack bites of relaxing restorative poses that are meant not just to balance out the physical work that we're going to share here today, but maybe balance out your whole day, maybe your whole week, maybe the whole month that you've had. So I do hope that you will enjoy the restorative piece today. I encourage you that if you like the restorative poses, to reach out to yoga studios in your local area to see if they're offering a restorative class. Restorative yoga is a wonderful gift and a wonderful combination to our physical yoga that we more frequently use. You usually will go to the class and have about 5 or 6 poses that you'll hold for 10 to 15 minutes, supported by different props, yoga blocks, bolsters, blankets, sandbags, eye pillows. So all of these wonderful things are available to you. And when you go to a studio that offers these classes, they will have all of that equipment for you if you don't already own it yourself. So reach out to your local community, let them know that you are new to restorative yoga, and I'm sure that they will be able to help you. So let's go ahead and get started today. Now, we're going to start sitting tall on our chair. Make sure you're sitting toward the front of your seat. That encourages us to sit up nice and tall. Both feet flat on the ground, hips distance apart. A good measure is to take both fists side by side and wedge them between the knees, and the feet are directly under those bent knees. Let's start to unwind through the shoulders, rolling them back and down. Whenever I start to roll the shoulders back, it's my little signal to my body and mind that it's time to relax. It's time to bring my focus to this yoga practice right here, right now, and to allow all other thoughts of the day to fade away. Now let's allow those shoulders to relax back and down, lifting up tall through the crown of our head. Starting to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, as long as those passageways are clear for us. And if they're not, let's just breathe as comfortably as we can. with each inhale, we breathe peace and calm into the body and the mind. And with each exhale, we're letting go of stray thoughts, letting go of judgment and competition, even when they're directed toward ourselves. And we're also letting go of expectations today, allowing ourselves to be pleasantly surprised by what these healthy bodies can do when given the opportunity. And while I know most of us are practicing this practice together from our homes, maybe with other people living with us, just remember, while we cannot control any distractions that may come into our view or into our hearing today during this practice, let's just do our very best to stay present right here, right now. And as we hear the sound of our healthy breathing, we remember to breathe throughout each pose rather than holding the breath if a pose is challenging for us. And we promise to feel each pose to the best of our own abilities while listening to the body at all times, easing up whenever needed and giving ourselves more of a challenge whenever wanted. Let's take a few more deep, cleansing breaths. And when we're ready, let's slowly open our eyes. Now let's inhale tall through our posture, lifting up through the crown of our head. And on the exhale, a gentle, gentle turn of the head, looking over one shoulder. Inhaling back to the center, exhaling, turning gently in the opposite direction. Inhaling back to the center. Now how about a gentle tilt of the head to one side? Inhale, lift, lift, lift. And on the exhale, a tilt to the other side. Inhaling and lifting. Now a gentle chin drop, bringing that chin down toward the inside of one elbow with that wonderful stretch behind the neck. Inhaling up, and let's take a chin drop over to the other side. Good morning, Maisie, the yoga cat. Inhaling back up. Let's go ahead and roll those shoulders back and down. Now on the next inhale, let's inhale one long arm up toward the ceiling, and on the exhale, switch arms. Inhaling and exhaling. Stretching out through the chest, lubricating the shoulder joints today. Sorry, Maisie. Couple more times in each direction. Now let's reach back through both arms, opening up through the chest with a little arch in the back. And on the exhale, let's round and hug the tree in front of us, pulling the abdominals in. So inhale, opening the chest, exhaling and rounding. Moving the spine forward and backward, lubricating it today. One more time in each direction. Now let's roll the shoulders back and down, bringing the hands down in a neutral position beside us. Let's inhale, and on the exhale, a reach down to one side. Lift, lift, lift as you inhale with your trunk muscles, and then exhale to the other side. I call these tea kettle reaches. One of my favorite stretches for the side body. And if you find yourself at work all day and you're sitting in a chair, I like to try to use these movements. Maybe cat and cow is a little bit less obvious to your coworkers than chest expansion with a tree hug. But this side to side bend is such a nice gift to the body while you're working. One more tea kettle reach. Coming back upright. Let's inhale the left arm up to shoulder height, watching the tips of our fingers as we gently stretch through the torso and twist. We inhale back to the center. We exhale, relaxing that arm. Inhaling the right arm up. Exhale, gently, gently twist. Inhale back to the center, and let's exhale down. Keep going. Finding our focus at the tips of those fingers and allowing all other thoughts to fade away. One more lateral raise with a gentle twist. Now let's make sure that those feet are still hips distance apart. They haven't wandered on us. Let's inhale both arms overhead, and on the exhale, gently folding forward. Inhaling, lifting up the back to a 45-degree angle, and then exhale back down to forward fold, rising tall as we inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling into monkey. Exhale, forward fold. Rise up tall as we inhale. Exhaling down. Inhaling to monkey with strong backs and abdominals. Exhaling down. Using this seated version of our sun salutation to start to warm the body, warming up those muscles so they can stretch out more easily and safely. Now let's bring those palms together and bring the hands to rest at the third eye, taking 3 breaths here. Now let's just lower the hands to heart center, taking 3 breaths here. Grateful for this physical and restorative practice today. Now relax those hands. Let's pick up one leg, and as we inhale, let's step it over to the side, really opening up through the hip. And on the exhale, bring it back. So we inhale and we step out as wide as is comfortable for our hips, and then we exhale back. One of the things I love about our physical practice is that it encourages us to move the body in all of its intended ranges of motion, whether it's a 30-minute practice or 60 minutes, 90 minutes. We can feel confident that we have moved this body through all of its intended ranges of motion, which I don't think that we do on our regular days. We want to, but we don't always have the time or the, environment where we can do that. So when we come to our practice, it's such a gift in that way. One more time, stepping out to the side, and then we'll come on back to the center. Now, if you want to continue to stay seated, slide forward on your chair and take a wide stance with your feet so that the toes and knees are both pointing in the same direction. If you'd like to stand up for this next part, we'll move our chair down to one end of our mat and we'll step out to the side here. Same thing, wide stance, knees and toes headed in the same direction. Let's all inhale the arms up to a star pose, and on the exhale, bend through the knees, bring those elbows in toward the ribs, and reach for the corners of the room as we inhale. Moonflower flow. Now sometimes when we bend down into these little squats here, we might hear some noises coming from the knees. As long as just noises we're hearing and there's no discomfort coupled with it, that's okay. If there's any discomfort, of course, we're going to ease back. Maybe we'll just do the arm part if we're guarding those knees. Maybe we just won't bend the knees as deeply. So think about what you need today, always listening to the body at all times. Just a couple more of these moonflowers. Now let's make a change here. Let's hinge forward, bending through the knees if you're standing, gathering and then rising tall. So think about gathering some spring flowers with a nice flat back and then rise up. One more sunflower hinge. Now, let's use side angle flow. So if you're standing, bend one knee and everybody lean to one side through the torso. Then inhale up to a star. Exhale over to the other side, inhaling up. So it's a bend of the knee and a lean over. Inhaling when we lift up, exhale into that side bend. One more side angle. Now let's bring those arms all the way back down, stepping those feet to hips distance apart. Let's roll those shoulders back and down. All right, now let's turn our chair seat away from us if you want to use the chair for support. If you don't want to use the chair, just move it all the way off your mat. Now, standing behind our chair, the feet should be hips distance apart. So when you're standing, it's a little easier to tell where that is. Just find your hip bones, which are here. A lot of times we think about our hips out to the side, but the hip bones are here, and then just head south. So the feet should be directly under the hip bones here, okay? Let's start off with our right leg, stepping as far back as we can with that whole right foot connecting to the ground. And notice my left knee is still bent with the knee stacked right over the ankle. Now, looking straight ahead into the distance, relax through the shoulders. I can hold on to my chair with 2 hands or 1, or I can let go altogether. I can always come back if I need to. And notice that whichever option I'm using, my shoulders are still stacked right above the hips for good spinal alignment. We're not leaning forward with the trunk or leaning back. Warrior 1. Breathing deeply. Keeping those abdominals engaged will help with our balance. Let's take 4 more breaths in Warrior 1. Now when we're ready, let's put our left hand on the chair top. Let's pick up that right leg and step back now into Warrior 2. Now for Warrior 2, our right foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Our left toes are still pointing forward as they were. And we can look out over the left shoulder if we're holding on to the chair, or we can reach out long through that front arm. So both arms are reaching out like a clothesline here for Warrior 2. Looking out over that left middle finger if you have that front arm extended. We feel this nice opening rotation here for the hips. Let's take 5 more breaths. Warrior 2. Now from here, we're going to rest our left hand on the chair top or bend the left arm and rest it on our left thigh as we lean in for side angle pose. So this time we're holding it still. And whether you're resting your hand on your chair or on your leg, remember it's really just resting there. All the power in the pose is coming through the trunk here. Think about a butterfly landing on a flower, whether you're on the chair top or on the leg. Breathing, keeping that right shoulder rotated back to stay open through the chest. Now let's come back to Warrior 2. Relax those arms and step up gently to the back of the chair. Now, holding on to the chair top, make sure all the chair legs are on your mat. Let's walk on back to Downward Dog. 2 feet flat on the ground, hips distance apart. Press back through the tailbone like you're pushing away a coffee table with your bottom. Keeping those abdominals engaged here. Breathing. One more breath. Now let's gently walk ourselves up to the back of the chair. Roll those shoulders back and down. Let's get ready for the other side of the body for the warriors. Starting off with feet hips distance apart, standing tall. Let's take that left foot back, stepping as far back as we can with that whole left foot connecting to the ground. And if I look at my chair legs, my right foot is in line with the right chair leg. And even though it's further back, the left foot is still in line with the left chair leg as well. Shoulders stacked above the hips, looking straight ahead into the distance, using any arm options you like, breathing. Now let's place that right hand onto the chair top, carefully stepping back into warrior two, left foot parallel to the back of the mat, looking out over that right middle finger for warrior two. Breathing as deeply as is comfortable. Now when you're ready, we can put our right hand on the chair top or bend that right forearm and lean into our side angle pose. Remember, rotate that left shoulder back. Keep the chest nice and open here. Now gently, gently we rise, we relax the arms and step up to the back of the chair. Let's use another downward dog here. 2 feet flat on the ground, pressing back through the tailbone here, nice and long through the spine. Breathing and enjoying this luxurious stretch here. Remember, you can certainly bend your knees here rather than straightening them if that feels more comfortable to the backs of your legs. Maybe we'll wag the dog's tail, gently moving the hips side to side. Then we'll bring those hips back to the center and gently, gently walk on up to the back of the chair, rolling those shoulders back and down. Let's grab a sip of water if we have one. Definitely want to try to stay hydrated during our class, whether it's 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. And I'm hoping that you're also doing your best, and I'm trying to as well, to stay hydrated throughout the day as well. So let's go ahead and just turn our chair forward again. We're going to use a forward fold here. Now, you're welcome to sit on the chair for this forward fold or use a standing version. Actually though, before that, let's use tree pose to open up through the hips a little bit more, shifting our balance over to the foot closest to our chair, extending through the opposite toes. Let's draw that foot in. We can have our foot at ground level, keeping that knee bent and the hip as open as is comfortable. You could take it up to the calf if you want to go a little higher. And the third option would be to go above the knee to that high inner thigh if you want to be up there. Now sometimes if I've got my slick pants on, being up high doesn't seem like a safe option. So I'm gonna stay here on the calf, rolling those shoulders back, standing nice and tall. Notice I'm holding on to the chair, but I'm always welcome to let go. I don't have to hold on. I'm also gonna use a half prayer pose, one of my favorite options. And if I do let go of the chair, we'll just bring it into full prayer. And I can always reach right back whenever I need to. Standing up tall, engaging the abdominal muscles and focusing on a steady focal point across the room. All right, let's shake out those limbs. Now, if you're using the chair for support, what I would do is just turn around and do the tree pose on the other side. That way you can still hold on to your chair. Just for the viewers at home, I'm just gonna shift my balance over to the other leg. So we're gonna shift to the other side, point out through the opposite toes, draw that foot in. Again, we can be at ground level, calf level, or above the knee on that high inner thigh, whichever works best for you. Finding our focus on that steady focal point across the room, recruiting all of our abdominal muscles to help with our strong balance today, breathing rather than holding the breath. All right, let's shake out those limbs. Now we're gonna take that forward fold, either seated or standing. Let's all inhale the arms overhead. If you're standing, remember to bend the knees a little bit as you're folding forward, and then you can straighten them as much as is comfortable for you. Everybody let the head relax, the neck and the shoulders relaxing. Now, if you're standing, let's put a little bend in the knees, gently, gently, rising to standing, palms touch, and let's bring those hands to rest at the third eye. Breathing deeply. Let's bring those hands back to heart center. Prayer pose or Anjali Mudra is a symbol of gratitude, and we are so grateful for these physical poses that we've used today to start off our flow and restore practice. Now relax those hands. I want you to grab your second chair. And just as a little tip, if you're using two chairs, ideally they would be the same height. So if you have two matching chairs, maybe from your kitchen dining room set, it's a better idea if we use two chairs that are equal in height. So I'm going to take my two chairs and I'm going to position them on my mat here, facing each other, okay? And once we get into our poses, we may have to kind of slide them around to adjust to get comfortable, but let's start off with them facing each other. Now, I'm going to use either my light blanket, or I do have a thicker blanket here. So whatever you have, you want to kind of fold up that blanket so that we're going to rest our forehead on it. So My metal chairs here would not be very comfortable without some kind of cushion for the forehead. So I'm going to use one of these blankets. I might use the sturdy one just for a little more cushion. And I'm just going to set that mat right onto the seat cushion in front of me. I'm going to take off my glasses here. And I'm going to keep an eye on our time. We are going to try to practice each of these 3 poses for 10 minutes each. So you don't have to worry about the time. I'll keep my eyes on it for you. All you need to do is come into this pose and find some good relaxation. So facing my chair here, I have a couple of options. What I want to do is I want to try, if it's comfortable for my hips, to put my feet outside of my chair legs. If that's not comfortable, you can certainly keep them closer to where they're hips distance apart. You might have to change partway through, that's okay. And what I want to do here is we're going to inhale tall, and on the exhale, hinge forward, and I like to just reach my arms out long and rest my forehead right here on my mat. Now, if it's not comfortable for you to have your head this low, you could stack your fists one on top of the other and rest your head there. That's another nice option. So let's try to come into this chair version of child's pose. Maybe you're going to slide your bottom back for more length. Maybe you have to physically move your chair, but we want to come into a relaxed position here. Breathing deeply, allowing our belly to just sort of relax between our bent knees. Noticing that we have good length in the spine from our hips up to our shoulders, through our long neck, and out through the crown of our head. This is child's pose or balasana. So let's allow ourselves to breathe deeply, allowing the body to relax and be supported by our 2 chairs beneath us. And if there's any part of the body where we're feeling some tighter muscles, let's send them a message to relax, relax, relax. ready, let's gently, gently lift ourselves back to an upright position. Now our next pose is going to be a seated supported butterfly pose. So we can either take our sturdy blanket and we could roll that up and place it behind the back like so. And we can lean back up against it and then come into butterfly. If you have an extra yoga mat, you can also use that the same way and just put that behind the spine long ways. Since I've got my bolster type blanket here, I'm just going to use that. We're going to make sure that it's long ways up the spine so we can lean back onto it. And we're going to bring both feet up to rest on the chair in front of us. So the soles of my feet are resting together. My knees are bent. And I'm just going to sit here nice and tall. I can lean up against my blanket. Now, if I feel like I might get chilly, I could also take my lighter blanket, which luckily was just within reach. And I can rest my light blanket just gently on top of the legs and just rest my hands gently there. Breathing deeply, finding a comfortable position. Now the restorative poses are meant to be held for these long stretches of time so that we can breathe into those tight places, encouraging relaxation through all parts of the body. And the thought is that as we breathe, we're letting go of any tension in any areas, allowing those muscles to relax, relax, relax. So as we're sitting here, just scan through the body. If we notice any of those areas where the muscles are holding on tightly, just gently breathe into those places, sending them a message to relax, relax, relax. And as with any other yoga pose in our practice, if you ever need to take a break, please do. Take a break whenever needed, come back to it if you want, or choose a different pose that feels more comfortable for you. And as we breathe deeply, we relax the forehead, eyes, cheeks, and mouth. And we allow our chairs to support us as we find rest and relaxation in our butterfly pose. continuing to breathe into any of those areas where the muscles are holding on tightly, encouraging them to relax, relax, relax. Now from this supported butterfly pose, let's transition right into Shavasana. So all I'm going to do with my butterfly legs is extend them out long in front of me. Now it might feel a little goofy because your legs will probably be extending beyond the back of the chair, but that's okay. They're still being supported by the chair beneath you. So go ahead and place that blanket around the limbs, keeping everything nice and cozy. Continuing to be supported by your extra yoga mat or your bolster pillow behind you. Just let those feet fall apart in relaxation. Again, finding our hearts shining with gratitude for the support given by these two chairs, so that we can really relax into this supported Shavasana pose. Feeling the feet relaxing, the legs relaxing as they're supported by our chair seat. Feeling our bottom connected to the chair beneath us, and feeling supported by our bolster, blanket, or yoga mat resting just behind us, along the length of our spine. And we relax the shoulders away from the ears, creating good, relaxed space there. Nice and long through the neck, relaxing through the mouth, the cheeks, the forehead, and feeling this wonderful peace in the mind. slowly awaken these bodies by inviting small movements into the fingers and the toes, gently, gently waking them. And let's begin to breathe a little more deeply, filling this body with good, nourishing oxygen from the tips of our toes all the way up through the crown of our head. And we find our hearts shining with gratitude as we feel this super relaxation throughout the body and the mind. And we're grateful for the physical work that we've chosen to start this practice with as well. This wonderful combination of physical work and super relaxation woven into one, balancing out this practice, this day, perhaps even our week or month. And we're just so grateful to have so many tools available to us in our yoga practice and in our community of yogis and yoginis. All we need to do is reach out and explore and find what can enhance this life of ours. Now let's gently begin to ease out from this seated Shavasana pose with our eyes still closed. Maybe adjust your blanket if you need to, gently placing one foot on the ground and then the other. Maybe you'll need to slide that chair in front of you out a little bit, removing your bolster from behind you. I'm going to turn my chair to face you, but you don't need to turn yours. Let's all bring the palms of our hands together at heart center. And let's start to rub the palms vigorously, warming them today. And let's use our warm hands to gently cover our closed eyes. That good heat that we find radiating there is inviting our eyes to slowly open. And we bring those hands down to rest upon our laps. I want to thank you for joining me today for this flow and restore practice. I hope this little snack bite that we've given you of the restorative poses will encourage you, if you've enjoyed them, to go out into your community and find a good full-length restorative class. I know you're going to love it. I know that the studios will have all of the props that you need. They'll also be able to put those props in to the areas of your body that need supporting. They're just a fantastic resource when you have a trained restorative yoga professional to help you. So I encourage you to go out and find those classes. Weave that into your life if you've been impressed with what those restorative poses can feel like. And we've only done just some bare bones basics so that we could get into and out of them by ourselves with as little props as possible, using things you have around your house. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate your time and your company during our practice. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thanks for coming. I'll see you at our next practice. Bye-bye.